Well, there's been relentless shelling across Gaza, with 4 people killed in the Bureij refugee camp and 3 also killed in a strike on the Daraj school. That school has been housing displaced Palestinians in Gaza City. Southern areas have also been targeted. 12 people killed in Rafah. Another 7 people have died in Khan Younis near the Nasser Hospital there. Let's speak to Hani Mahmoud, our correspondent, who's live for us from Rafah in southern Gaza. Hani, as we've been reporting, dozens more killed overnight. Talk us through where these strikes have been focusing the most.
Yes, well, within the past hour or so, many reports are emerging from Gaza as there seems to be a surge in the artillery shelling and the airstrikes on Gaza right now, and it's continuing while there are a redeployment of the Israeli military in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. Namely, we're talking about the eastern part of Beit Hanun city as well as Beit Lahia, and pushing deeper in the vicinity of Jabalia town right now as we speak. But there was an airstrike on an evacuation center at the Daraj neighborhood. The Daraj neighborhood is at the eastern side of Gaza City and very close to Tufah and Shujaiya neighborhood. These are the eastern neighborhoods of Gaza City. There was also another airstrikes on a residential homes in one of the major roads that are connecting the northern Gaza City with its southern neighborhoods, better known as a Nafaq road. And a residential home belongs to one of the families there that was sheltering along with their relatives and in-laws inside the building that was targeted by a massive airstrike. The report about 4 people have been killed. Now the concern is of people who are still under the rubbles. We're talking about an area that has been largely destroyed. There are no civil defense crew on the ground. There are no hospitals functioning whatsoever. So any injury or anyone reported killed, the likelihood of getting them from under the rubbles or staying there in that targeted area is very, very high, given that there are no help available whatsoever. In overnight airstrikes here in Rafah, about 12 people were killed in a residential home. And the sad part about this is this family is internally displaced. Family coming all the way from the northern part all the way to the central area, Khan Younis, and ended up in Rafah city within the past 2 weeks as area bombardment became more intense in Khan Younis. They ended up in Rafah city in the northern part in Bureij area in a residential home. It was targeted at 12 people. 5 of them belonged to one family. We talk about father, mother, and their children were killed in that airstrike. In Khan Younis, once again, not the first time airstrikes targeting indiscriminately residential homes. The Israeli military say in a statement it was targeting infrastructure, but as of early hours of this morning, we're seeing more of the residential homes that were that housed many internally displaced Palestinians. Many civilians, many women and children are dying.
Hani, can you describe the situation there for us on the ground? We've heard from so many aid agencies too that the level of hunger is profound.
Yes, indeed. And as of now, there are more concerning and devastating reports of people are for real hungry. They lack food supplies and water supply. Most of the water supply available in the northern part and Gaza is contaminated, which increases the level and the risk of contracting infectious diseases among vulnerable groups, children and women, and those with critical health conditions or chronic diseases. But as of a famine, the reports about the threat and warning by a top UN official about famine is imminent in the northern part. We actually started to see that happening in the northern part and Gaza City. We're talking about an area that has been largely destroyed. All infrastructure, all hygiene facilities, as well as more than 60% of its residential homes are destroyed. What people end up doing are concentrated in the remaining buildings that have not been bombed, or they are they have been severely damaged, but still they can stay in them. And evacuation centers, we're talking about UNRWA school, United Nations for Palestinian Refugees, designated its schools and education centers and turned them into evacuation centers for internally displaced Palestinians. But the fact that you have overcrowded areas like these evacuation centers or remaining residential homes with severe shortage of resources, it's just an indication of how hungry people feel. They are hungry now, they're largely unsafe. And we've seen within the past 2 days that a couple of trucks were on their way on Gaza on the coastal road, and people stormed these trucks, not because they wanted to steal it, but because they were really hungry and they want something to keep them alive in that area that experience hard living conditions.
Hani Mahmoud there for us with the latest from Rafah and southern Gaza. Thank you, Hani.